Alright, so today I want to very briefly discuss the Industrial Revolution. We've already seen the word revolution in this unit before. Let's go ahead and discuss it again though real quick. Revolution again means a drastic change. So earlier we talked about the Neolithic Revolution. The Industrial Revolution began in about 1750. Some sources say 1780, but it was in the mid 1700s in this range. And the Industrial Revolution began in Europe, in England specifically. What was the revolution? What was the change? And the change was moving from a system in which goods were made in what we called the cottage system. And that's when goods were made in people's houses or homes. And this was very small scale, right? You weren't making 1 million shirts in your house. This was small scale. So we transitioned from that, and what did we change into? Most of us know the answer to that. We changed to the factory system. Okay, and the factory system is one in which goods are mass produced. This is large scale. Alright, now I want to talk about why did the Industrial Revolution begin in Great Britain? And there are a lot of reasons it began in Great Britain, and we're just going to go over a few of them, as well as just why did the Industrial Revolution begin in the first place. So one reason was improved farming techniques. And these improved farming techniques led to an increase in population. So an increase in population. Well, with that increase in population, we had the labor force that was going to be required for the Industrial Revolution. We had workers ready to go to work in factories, so the labor force was ready. Another reason the Industrial Revolution began specifically in Great Britain is Great Britain had an abundance. That means they had plenty of natural resources. Okay, and as we learned earlier in the scramble for Africa, the natural resources that they didn't have, they had the power and the ability to go get those natural resources. Alright, and one more reason the Industrial Revolution began in Great Britain was because they had the capital, meaning they had the money. Okay, there were very wealthy people in Great Britain that could invest in railroads and factories and mines, coal mines, everything that was required for the Industrial Revolution to begin. Alright, so what were the effects of the Industrial Revolution? We're going to talk about both positive and negative effects of the revolution. One of the positive effects of the Industrial Revolution, of course, was new technology. Right? There were a lot of new inventions that were changing the world. Most of them were invented in either America or England. Alright, we also had the emergence of the working class. The working class were the people that were going to work in the factories. And they didn't get paid very well, so I'm going to go ahead and put that as a negative, although in the end it perhaps was a positive. Okay, another positive is we're not using the cottage system anymore. Now we're in the factory system, so goods are being mass produced. So mass production, that means a lot of goods are being produced very quickly, and that leads to lower prices. Right, so stuff costs less now, and that's a good thing. Alright, another negative was the fact that the working conditions in the factories were not very good. There were bad working conditions. Alright, and that included long hours. This is before the time of labor unions, so they would often work 15, 16-hour days. It was none of this 8-hour day stuff that we have these days. Child labor was not uncommon. Children would often work in the factories. The working conditions were quite unsafe. This was not regulated at first, so the factories were very unsafe. Alright, and then a very important word I'm going to put down here at the bottom is urbanization. And urbanization is the idea that people are moving from rural to the cities. So we're urbanizing. Our cities are getting very, very big. Alright, so my happy people here are moving to the cities. Along with urbanization, the idea that people were moving to cities, and this was happening very rapidly, meaning people were moving to the cities very quickly. Very quickly, these cities were getting big. And so there wasn't much time to plan for the arrival of all these new people in the cities. So that led to very crowded conditions. Often the cities were very polluted. The pollution got really bad. Right, there was trash in the streets, and there were poor living conditions. Many of the people lived in tenements that were not very nice, poor living conditions. The last one, and we've already talked about this when we went over the scramble for Africa, was European imperialism and their exploitation of others for natural resources.